Okay, let's start. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om. Asato ma Sadgamaya Tamaso ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya Aviravirmaidhi. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om. Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam kavibhiriditam kalmashapaham Shravanamangalam Srimadatam Bhuvi Gnanti Ye Bhurida Jana. May we be protected, may we be nourished, may we strive with energy and vigor. May our study be enlightening and not give rise to hostility. Om peace, peace, peace. Lead us to truth and not to untruth. Lead us to enlightenment and not ignorance. Lead us to immortality and not death. Let the self-manifest Atman grow in me. Om peace, peace, peace. Your nectar-like words and warm and inspiring life stories, eulogized by learned sages, are indeed eradicator of shoots of ignorance. These are auspicious to hear and propitious to inculcate in one's own life. Those who take these words to the world are indeed great benefactor of the world. So before we start, we are studying Sri Ramakrishna and his divine play. Sri Ramakrishna is the central character. Sri, what is Sri Ramakrishna? That is what we are to contemplate. Sri Ramakrishna would merge in samadhi again and again while interacting with devotees. and also with the divine mother. Somebody asked, so how you feel? Sir, how do you feel in Samadhi? So Master answered that. So important. You may have heard that the cockroach, by intently meditating on the Brahmara, is transformed into Brahmara. Brahmara here is like bee, caterpillar. So when it transmutes and then it becomes butterfly. So do you know how I feel then? I feel like a fish released from a pot into the water of the Ganges. In Upanishad also we find it is like the pure droplet of water merges in the great ocean of pure water. So this is how this happens. We have limited understanding of ourselves. We have individuality. I am a person, and this is my body, this is my mind, this is my intellect. This is our natural identity. What happens when this identity is completely effaced? So somebody asked, the same person, Amrita, don't you feel at that time even a trace of ego? So Sri Ramakrishna, how he wonderfully replied, yes, generally a little of it remains. Generally. However hard you may rub a grain of gold against a grindstone, still a bit of it always remains. Or again, take the case of a big fire. The ego is like one of its sparks. So ego is like big fire of a little spark of a big fire. The ego is like one of its sparks. In samadhi, I lose outer consciousness completely. That means there is no like this world. This perception is not there, but inner consciousness is totally 100% awakened. So ego is like one of its sparks. In samadhi, I lose outer consciousness completely. But God generally keeps a little trace of ego in me for the enjoyment of divine communion. So then when there are two, then only one can commune with others. Enjoyment is possible only when I and you remain. Now, again, sometimes God effaces even that trace of I, that means ego. Then one experiences Jada Samadhi, that means Nirvikalpa Samadhi, complete Jada Samadhi or Nirvikalpa Samadhi. That experience cannot be described. His salt doll went to measure the depth of the ocean, but before it had gone far into the water, it melted away. It became entirely one with the water of the ocean. Then who was to come back and report or tell that ocean's depth? So Sri Ramakrishna, see, only an incarnation can tell about this. Nobody else. Nobody else can explain what happens that time. So it is like Shuddha water, pure water melts or droplet of pure water merges in pure water. Is it then different? Too different? This separation is only apparent. In reality, there is no. No difference. Hazra is one person. He used to say, Soham, I am that. So Sri Ramakrishna once told that if you can think that, then everything is done. But is it possible? I mean, not he said, I'm asking. Because we heard so many times, everything is God, all are God. So Sri Ramakrishna says that what happens? Because of our ego, we feel separate. We like something, we dislike something. We hate something, we love something. This duality is because of our ego. In that state, when this ego merges in the self, then this separation is no more there. Only at that time one can feel that I am one with God. There are no two. Neha, nanasti, kinchana. Here, there are not many. But before that, one should not say this. Before that, one should worship God as servant, as God's son or daughter. Say like that's why we have mother, and Sri Ramakrishna is our father, mother. So this is very good. And not to be like depressed. Oh, it is not happening. What will happen to me? No. Sri Ramakrishna told a story, very nice story. Narada, a great sage, was going to Golaka. Golaka is the abode of God, Vishnu. So this kind of stories are very good to understand the point, what is being made. So Narada, when he was passing, so a great yogi who was doing lots of tapasya, penance. So when he saw Narada, he asked, you are going to God, could you kindly ask God how long more I require to do tapasya, penance? Okay, Narada said yes. Then he saw another person, he's not that well organized, he was a bit careless. So he also said, great Rishi, great seer, please ask God how long, how long I'll take to realize him. Narada said yes. After a certain time, when Narada returned, that first man asked, did you ask God? He said, yes, I asked God. Then he asked again, what did God say? He said that, you need three more births and do tapasya, penance. 3 more births. I have done so much and I am so sincere, I am doing this and that. So he started lamenting. So Narada approached the second person. He said, did you ask God how long I'll take to realize God? He said, yes. How long? He said, can you see this tamarind leaf? That means a big tree, big tree. And it has many leaves, small leaves, tamarind. So you'll take so many births and then only you can realize God. As many leaves are there, you need so many births. So this person started dancing, cutting capers. That, it's limited, only so many births. That's nothing. It will go like this. In a moment, it will go. So he was happy. He was. So immediately there was oracle that you are free already. So what's the point? Point is one should not be dejected. One should not be morose. or despondent. One should be eager. That's a different issue. That is why we need to pray. So here comes what is the say spiritual discipline. Discipline qualifies a man. So discipline is very important. How to discipline one's mind, that is important. It should not go into things worldly. So what is the point? Chitta mala. There is chitta mala. Means dirt in our mind. We have lots of desires, this and that, and it never stops. Chitta mala should be cleared. It's like a pool. If it is dirty, the water is dirty, we cannot see what is lying beneath the sheet of water. Sheet of water. And the second is, if it is in wave, that also we cannot see, even if the water is clean. Therefore, it should be one-pointed, focused. So, chitta vikshepa, chitta mala, chitta vikshepa. And second, there should be knowledge also. If I don't know something, first I should concentrate and leave other ideas, concentrate and try to know, then only we know. But what happens when we see signs and symptoms in great ones? That he's sometimes weeping, sometimes, like dancing. One should not imitate blindly. Because imitation is not real. Rather, one should be normal, like that yogi who was told that he would require so many lives, but he was happy. So, external signs and symptoms are nothing. The main thing is internal. So, Narendra noticed that many people, they were trying to imitate others. Like Girish had 125 or 130% of his faith in Sri Ramakrishna. So other people also tried to cultivate that way, but that was not real. And Vijay Krishna also told, Vijay Krishna Goswami, that he saw Sri Ramakrishna in Dhaka. Now it is in Bangladesh. And Narendra also told another time that he also experienced Sri Ramakrishna in his house, in his room, where the room was bolted. And Sri Ramakrishna went there. So how can I disbelieve that? So this happened. So Narendra tried to curb that extreme excitement and increase renunciation and self-control among the devotees. Why the master did not take action? So the thing is, everything Sri Ramakrishna would not say. And Sri Ramakrishna is like Ananta Bhavamay, unending. There is no end of his moods. But Narendra had also some duties. So Narendra noticed it, and then he used to even make fun of those who used to imitate blindly. So today we don't have a reader, so I'll read. The astute Narendra, whom the master had made foremost among his devotees, observed that the devotees had come to regard this excessive emotionalism as the culmination of religion and were considering renunciation, self-control, and steadfast devotion as insignificant. Narendra knew that this attitude, if indulged freely, could eventually lead them into great danger. He explained this to the devotees and made a special effort to protect them from any negative consequences. Main thing is character. Character is to be built. If you see the history was made by people who have some character. Maybe some were wrong, but still that firmness, that dedication for whatever ideal one thought, they followed that. So this is important. And in a spiritual field especially, it requires to cultivate renunciation. People are allured by things of the world. Little uh, temptation comes, and immediately person is deviated from the path. Bribe. You can see, you can hear people, because of personal gain, they even harm the nation. So this is not a good sign. Sentimentalism also, it weakens the system. People started trying to imitate Sri Ramakrishna and started weeping. So that is sentimentalism, that is not good. So one may question why the master remained aloof when he knew that some of his devotees were going astray. The answer is that he was not indifferent. He knew that genuine devotion was one of the paths to God realization, and that some of those devotees were truly fit for it. He was looking for the right time and opportunity to guide them along with path. We heard him say many times, one does not attain success suddenly by a mere wish. It happens in the course of time. And success is a particular matter, comes at the proper time. Success comes with struggle, as we talked about yesterday. Success is, somebody wants to scale the Everest. So he gets ready for that. He gets training, he gets equipment, and he prepares for years, then only one dares. If somebody says, okay, why you are doing all these things? I can drop you at the summit. Don't worry about it. But that is not scaling the Everest. It is the endurance. It's the struggle that is important. One should not shy away from struggle. That is the way to cultivate strength. If somebody wants to cultivate strength, but he won't go to gym, how that will happen? He has to do some exercise. Then only the body will be fit and he'll gain strength. So struggle is very important. And Sri Ramakrishna did say, even many times would mock, like caricature. He would make some caricature also and make others laugh. Even he would give some example of Hazra Mahasaya, that Hazra does this and that. And though he do japa, but within he also tries to make some money. Some real estate. He wanted to buy and sell something. So Sri Ramakrishna also said, it's not that Sri Ramakrishna neglected, but the way Narendra took this was important because he stressed the need of cultivating renunciation and strength of character. Sri Ramakrishna said, one does not attain success suddenly by mere wish. It happens in the course of time. So in course of time, it's not that immediately we get. Suppose immediately we get, then we'll not give that importance. If you get a diamond without striving it, you won't give that value to that. And by struggle, one earns it. When the direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, the monastic direct disciples, they were doing lots of japa, meditation, reading, swadhyaya, etc. And the Grihastha devotees said, this is all useless. Sri Ramakrishna gave you everything. Why you are doing this? So Rakhal Maharaj, somebody told to Rakhal Maharaj. He said, yes, he gave us everything, but now we are actualizing. We are making this our own. Suppose somebody's parents bequeath some property and money. You are to assimilate it, you have to get it and accounted for. It should be owned. It is not that he has given and that's done. No, that is to be actualized. So success in a particular matter comes at the proper time. It may be that he had observed Narendra's determination to remove the devotee's error and was awaiting the result. It may also have been his intention to use Narendra as an instrument to accomplish that task. Yes, even Sri Ram, see, Narendranath even um, told Sri Ramakrishna, that's all your hallucination that you see, mother. Though he knew. How can we say he knew? Because you know that Gopal's mother, Gopal Irma, she used to see Gopal, the baby Gopal, and she used to take care of baby Gopal. So one day she came and Sri Ramakrishna asked her to tell Narendra what you experience. And the old lady, told Narendra, Baba, my son, I see this, and baby Gopal comes to me, and sometimes he rides on my shoulder and asks for sweets, etc. Then she would guilelessly ask, am I seeing this? It is all wrong? Narendra would say, no, mother, it is all right, all real. So don't worry. So Narendra knew it is for us that he told Sri Ramakrishna that whatever you see and experience as mother, that's all your hallucination. So this is, this is a great play. How? That's the play of an incarnation to make us understand what real religion is, what spirituality is. So Narendra, so emotionalism has little value because it does not permanently transform one's life. It may give like some, surge of emotionalism, and then it may be fused also. So Narendra thought that the young devotees who had strong bodies and resolute minds would understand him easily. So he repeatedly reasoned with them. An upsurge of emotion that does not transform life permanently makes people eager to realize God at one moment, but does not give them the power to desist from seeking lust and gold in the next. So it may have the surge, but then the same mind will be weaker and will go for lust and gold. There is no depth in it, and it is therefore of little value in life. Under its influence, people may experience physical reactions such as tears, goosebumps, and so on, or may temporarily lose partial outer consciousness. But I am fully convinced that these things are caused by nervous debility. If people cannot control themselves through force of mind, they should eat nutritious food and seek medical help. I have seen, in my boyhood, that people are singing loud kirtan, and they get also little ecstasy also. And Nitayamar Matahati, Nitayamar Matahati, then Matahati, then Ha, and then they faint. And after that, they are very weak. So that is not real religion, real spirituality. Narendra continued, there is much artificiality in those physical displays and lapses of outer consciousness. Sometimes they remember their, say, wife or say near and dear one, and will try to weep. The higher and stronger the dam of self-control, the deeper spiritual emotion becomes. In the lives of a few rare persons, intense spiritual moods take the form of a huge tidal wave, overflowing the dam of self-control and manifesting as physical reactions and a loss of outer consciousness. Foolish people do not understand this and form a mistaken impression. They think that deep spiritual feelings result from those physical displays and lapses of consciousness. So they strive to achieve those signs quickly. This effort of will gradually turns into habit and weakens their nerves day by day. Soon those physical effects appear in them at the slightest awakening of emotion. Consequently, they develop chronic diseases or even become insane by indulging freely in those sentiments. When people try to practice religion, 80% of them turn into cheats and about 15% go mad. It's only the remaining 5% who get some direct knowledge of the truth and become blessed. Therefore, be aware. I have seen, like little of indication, and then they become emotional. They cannot hold higher thoughts. So that is not good. And that's why you can see the monks of Ramakrishna mission is different. They are not singing like, on the street and going in ecstasy. It has a little advantage, I understand, that deepens, but character is more important. Cultivating strength is more important than all show. So that is why sometimes tears, goosebumps, and other physical reactions are feigned just to show. And then another thing, then comes ego. See, I have this power, I am not ordinary, I am a special. This ego also comes. See, I'm weeping. And they'll show like weep. When the tears are coming, they'll show that, you see, I'm weeping. It is all, it's superficial. And it strengthens our ego. That is not good. Rather, we have to surrender our ego. So we go to the next. We believed Narendra's words when we saw how some devotees behaved. At first, we did not completely believe Narendra's words, but we soon learned accidentally that a devotee was singing inspiring Vaishnava songs in solitude, practicing to bring on the physical effects that this mood can produce. This devotee also practiced dancing like another devotee who had danced beautifully. When he was overwhelmed by emotion, and had lost partial consciousness. Shortly after seeing the first devotee dance, a third devotee began to dance when absorbed in a religious mood. We then realized that truth of Narendra's words. When when he saw a devotee having frequent emotional outbursts, Narendra talked to him privately and instructed him to control his emotions and to eat nutritious food. Sri Ramakrishna would say like this, that if a pond, a small pool, if a real elephants enters, they are feigning, and like those who are practicing such thing, that's just feigning. But Sri Ramakrishna explained this. If there is a small pool where elephant enters, then what happens? The water splashes everywhere. But suppose there is a big and huge lake, even 1,000 elephant enters there, nothing happens. So Sri Ramakrishna would tell about Narendra. Narendra was like that. So much emotion, so much devotion would come to Narendra, but he was not um, affected by those because of his strength of character. So we have to cultivate that. Taking this advice, within a fortnight, the devotee became healthy and greatly improved his self control. Many devotees then trusted Narendra's words and no longer considered themselves unfortunate for not experiencing physical transformations or loss of consciousness as others did when were overwhelmed by emotion. You know, you'll see one thing of Ramakrishna mission monks. They don't, show off. Whatever you see them, they are the same. Nothing extraordinary. Sri Ramakrishna would say that spirituality does not mean that you grow two horns and a long tail. One becomes better human being. One can control one's sense organs and organs of action, control of mind. He is not tempted by things of the world. These are great strength that is to be cultivated. Narendra mocks excessive emotions, Dana and Shaki. So Narendra did not stop at preaching against this emotional exuberance, using reasoning only. If he sensed the slightest artificiality in any devotee's religious mood, he would ridicule him and embarrass him in public. Narendra would also raise the topic of men imitating women and demonstrate how ridiculous was the Vaishnava practice of men practicing the attitude of a female confidant of Krishna, thus raising peals of laughter amongst the devotees. We should not do this, we should not harm others. Narendra could do that because he had that strength. We are to try to improve ourselves, not to find faults in others. And Vaishnava philosophy, they practice Shakhi Bhav. Shakhi means female confidant of Radha. That's why Vaishnavism, it deteriorated because of this. Men started practicing womanhood. So, those who are sincere, those who are real practitioners, For them, it is okay. Sri Ramakrishna also did for 6 months as Radha, as Madhur Bhava. But it is not for ordinary people. Rather, it is better to be strong than all these weakling practices. So he would ridicule any of us who had that kind of tendency by referring to him as Sakhi, or a female confidant of Krishna. Narendra was a true lion among men. He could not bear the attitude that a man who came forward to practice religion should give up his manliness. He also said that this is my latest teaching, manliness. Everything lies in manliness. Manliness does not mean that he's only, say, supremacist. No, it's not like that. Even womanhood, cultivating womanhood and forgiving, forbearance, these are good characters, as we can see in Mother. So in one side we see Swami Vivekananda, who cultivated strength, and Mother, who practiced karma yoga in her daily practices. And she taught like that. So we can see that. So he could not bear the attitude of a man who came forward to practice religion should give up his manliness, his virility, and his desire to search for truth, and confine himself to imitating a woman's mood and gestures, singing Vaishnava lyrics, and weeping. The master masculine devotees who were endowed with knowledge, tempered with devotion, Narendra humorously called Dana or Shiva's demons. Dana, Daitya Dana. That means like Dana Kali. So Abhedananji used to do lots of tapasya, repetition of mantras. So it says, yes, we need like demons, wherever they go, they conquer that place. As Swamiji himself, the master's masculine devotees who were endowed with knowledge, tempered with devotion, Narendra humorously called them Dana, Shiva's demons, and he called those who had an opposite nature, Sakhi, or female confidant of Krishna, or Radha. So Narendra was not satisfied with trying to break the barrier of sentimentalism with reasoning, jokes, and ridicule. He was fully aware of the fact that his preaching could not be completely effective until the old attitude was replaced by a new one, and he made special efforts to accomplish that. To keep purity, renunciation, and devotion burning in the burning in the young disciples' heart, Narendra would gather them together during leisure times and lead them in songs describing the impermanency of the world and extolling renunciation and devotion to God. Narendra sang these songs and hymns. So he used to use that also. Oh, hear that. Oh, hear. What will you gain by union with a dear one? Ultimately, all this will return to dust. O ocean of nectar, an embodiment of consciousness and bliss, life becomes sweet and joyful while singing your name. So these are the songs that he used to sing. That the original song, Kya Delman Tamil Pyara, Akhir Matti Mein Mil Jana. Meaning this what will happen to this body? It will go to dust. And then Jivan Madhumay Tabo Namagane Hai He Amrita Sindhu Chidananda Hai. That once life becomes nectar if someone dedicates oneself to God. The ocean of nectar and embodiment of consciousness and bliss. Life becomes sweet and joyful while singing your name. And then there is Mano Buddhyahankar Chittani Naham Nacha Srotra Jibhe Nacha Ghana Netre. I am not these instruments. I am not the mind. I am not the intellect. I am not the chitta. I am not this ego also. Mano Buddhyahankar Chittani Naham Nacha Srotra Jibhe. I am not the hearing instrument and the tongue, nacha ghrana netre, and not eyes or um, or olfactory organ, smelling organ. I am neither the mind, the intellect, the ego, nor the chitta, mind stuff, neither the ears nor the tongue, nor the senses of smell and sight, neither ether, nor air, nor fire, nor water, nor earth. I am eternal bliss and awareness. I am Shiva, I am Shiva. So Shivoham, Shivoham. You know, this happened in Bengal, especially because of the influence of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was a great one. Nityananda and other also great renunciate. And he preached Shuddha Bhakti, pure devotion. Even Jnanamishra Bhakti he discarded. So because of that, Vaishnavas, they thought that Jnana is not good. And what happened gradually, people of lower category came who had no renunciation. They thought only singing the glory of God will do. And there is no need of cultivating strength of character. So because of that, deterioration happened. So originally it was okay, but gradually that happened. But here in Ramakrishna Leela, we find to add knowledge also, an independent path. And as Swami Vivekananda said, each soul is potentially divine. To manifest this divinity is the goal of life. Do it by work or worship or psychic control or knowledge, by one or more. So each are individually sufficient, but one can take one or more. That is why we take all four. So either one or combining many, one has to reach the goal. That is the main important factor. And he said again, suppose the whole blood gushes to the brain or head or limb, can we call him a normal person? No. The blood should be equitably distributed. Equal, not equal. Equitably distributed. That means brain requires more blood. More blood should go to brain. And other parts also requires blood. So similar distribution should be there. Similar means equitable, not equal distribution. So whatever is required, jnana, bhakti, then meditation, Raj Yoga, psychic control, and also karma yoga. All these are essential. Without karma, even this Shari Jatra Pina Prasiddheda Karman, Even without karma, we cannot maintain our body. And knowledge we use all the time. It's also reading is knowledge, cultivation of knowledge. So karma, jnana, then bhakti also important. Without um, joining the mind, we cannot gain anything. So all four are to be practiced. So when people came to see the master and heard Narendra sing those songs and hymns in his sweet and melodious voice, they were so inspired with renunciation and love of God that they would shed tears on their way home. So we go to the next. If one loves the master, one's life grows to resemble his. So sometimes Narendra told the devotees wonderful stories of how the master's sadhana had originated from his deep passion for God, and he charmed them with descriptions of the master's glory. Quoting from The Imitation of Christ by Thomas A. Kempis, Narendra said, the life of anybody who truly loves the Lord will be perfectly molded in his pattern. So in Sri Ramakrishna, we find complete manifestation of knowledge, bhakti, devotion, psychic control, and also um, karma. How much karma? Karma kathor. How much karma he did in short life of 50 years, 50 and plus few months. He did so much. He went so many places and also preached, influenced so many people, taught so many people. And cream of the society, it's not that ordinary people like Keshav Chandra Sen, like Vidyasagar, like Bankim Chandra, those time, and then even the Thakur's family, and Rabindranath Tagore and his father. So he influenced many, and so much we can see in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. He did so much. The life of anybody who truly loves the Lord will be perfectly molded in his pattern. Therefore, whether we truly love the master or not will be proven by this. He reminded the devotees of the master's teaching. First, tie the knowledge of non-duality in corner of your cloth. Then do as you please. So first, this understanding should be there that God is in everything, God is everywhere. Yomam pashyati sarvatram, sarvam cha mai pashyati. He who sees me everywhere and everything in me, I do not deny him, neither he denies me. Though here nashyati means destroying. I do not destroy him, neither he destroys me. But here it is denial. So first we have to have this, that God resides in everyone. God is everywhere. Like I can give an example. A painter takes various paints, black, blue, white, and this, that, and creates a wonderful creation. A child will come and say, oh, it is all color. What is there? All color. And the artist will see, oh, various colors. But a spiritual scientist will come and will say, these colors are reflection of the thought of the artist. It's not color, it is thought reflected in colors. That is what is creation. That is what creation is. So, first we have to find that who is pervading everything. After finding, then we are to practice karma, jnana, bhakti, and yoga. All. Of course, the intensity and the um, duration may vary for someone, something. Okay, so we go. Um, he reminded the devotees of the master teaching. First, the knowledge of non-dualism is to tie in the corner of one's cloth. Then do as you please. Narendra then explained to them that every one of the master's ecstatic moods arose from that non-dual knowledge. So they should strive to attain that knowledge first. So in the beginning, we have read that sometimes he had a trace of ego, but sometimes that also was effaced by God. So it is like pure water mingles with pure water. There is no separation at all. Narendra very often encouraged the master's devotees to verify new ideas before accepting them. Sometimes they don't, many people may not understand what master is saying. So Narendra asks the devotees not to accept new ideas until they have verified them. And Narendra himself was the embodiment. When Sri Ramakrishna asked him, "What do you think about me?" So Narendra said that people talk about you as avatar, incarnation of God. But until or unless I understand and realize, I'm not accepting that. And later he accepted because he also realized. And before passing, 2 or 3 days before passing, Narendra entered Master's room with this doubt. If he tells me now, then I'll believe. And immediately Sri Ramakrishna says, still you have doubt. He who was Rama, he who was Krishna is now in this Ramakrishna. So one should, and Sri Ramakrishna also encouraged. He said, you are to see a monk in daytime and also in nighttime. What he tells, whether he practices or not. He then gathered us in a closed room and engaged us in using that technique to try in curing the master's illness. However, he always tried to see that the devotees stayed away from practices that were not based on reason. We mention the following incident as an example of this. Is it time, no? Almost. Okay, we'll take this example and quickly. Mahim Chakravarti's thirst for name and fame. So Mahimacharan Chakravarti's house was across from the place where the south side of Mati Lake met Kashipur Road. Although Mr. Chakravarti had many good qualities, he always yearned for name and fame. It seems that he was not above resorting to falsehood if it would bring him honor. He arranged every aspect of his life with the expectation that people would call him wealthy, learned, intelligent, virtuous, generous, and so on, which sometimes made him appear ridiculous to others. Once Mr. Chakravarti founded a free school and called it Prachya Arya Shiksha Kanda Parishad. So this is the educational branch of the Institute of the Oriental Aryans. The named his he named his only son Mriganga Mauli Utatundi, one with a beautiful face and the moon on his head. He gave his pet deer the name Kapinjal, the name of an um, anchorite. So he was fond of using pompous titles such as these because he felt it unbecoming to a scholar like himself to give short and simple names. He had a large collection of English and Sanskrit books. One day after we became acquainted with him, we went to his house with Narendra. We asked him, Sir, have you read all these books? With due humility, he replied that he had. But the next moment, Narendra picked up some books from his shelf and found that some of their pages were uncut. So, like sometimes, it is mixed like this. So, the people cut it. The cutting instrument was not very good that time. So, when asked the reason for this, Mahim Chakravarti replied, Look, brother, people borrowed those books that I read and they did not return them. So I bought those new copies to replace them. Now I no longer allow anyone to borrow my books. Narendra soon discovered that the pages of most of Mr. Chakravarti's collection were uncut, which convinced him that Mr. Chakravarti kept those books in his living room for decoration and to solicit respect and admiration from his visitors. So that show was there. But anyway, Mahimacharya also was a great devotee. So we have to understand that. But we should also try to emulate whatever we are accepting, that must be supported by facts. But anyway, we need not go hunting people and find their faults. Okay, we see our prayer. Akshay, hope
Yes,
there is no. Eh?
I had a question.
Okay, yes, go ahead.
How do we know that God is happy with us or not happy?
God is, say it again.
God is happy with us or not happy?
Okay, very good. First, are you happy? You examine, are you happy? You see, God is within us. Antaryami. Antare nihita yamayati yamayati yah sa. That means who is residing within us. That is why if you feel, once I told you, if you feel confident, if you feel joy, if you feel strength of character, know for certain God is happy. So God, you cannot see where God is, whether he's happy or not, he's smiling or not. But your mind should be pure. When your mind is pure, your effort and when you're dedicating, if it is not influenced by your ego, if it is not show of your ego, then it is good. So in short, you will feel joy before knowing God, whether God is happy or not happy. You will be happy. That is why Swamiji always said, that one should be confident of oneself. One should be happy about oneself. No, confidence. He who has confidence in 330 millions of gods and goddesses, but no confidence on himself, that means he is no good. First, confidence in you. Confidence in you means confidence in all. If you are confident about yourself, that may be some egoistic expression. But when you are confident on yourself, you'll also feel confident on others. So, it is self-effulgence. It is the joy will come from, say, if you steal something or somebody steals something, he'll be afraid and he'll be always not confident. He'll be full of misery. So naturally, God is also not happy. But if you donate something to, say, donate food to a hungry person without expecting any results, before God, you'll be happy. And when you are happy, know for certain God is also happy. So that is self-evident. It is not that somebody will come and certify you. Now God is happy or now God is not happy. You can certify yourself. Yes, I feel happiness. That means God is also happy. But only thing, it should not be display of your ego. You should not expect anything from that person. Right? Thank you, Akshay. You are so good and so nice. Thank you, Jayama.
Thank you.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tassat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. There are lots of stories supporting this. Okay, we can take up later. It's a mongoose who wanted to, Yudhishthir had got ego. That you see, I have done Rasuya Yajna, and so many people are coming and feeding and this and that. So he was he had a little of ego. So all of a sudden he saw a mongoose was, rolling over the leftovers. Then he could not understand why it is him. And that mongoose was special. Half of the body was golden. So he asked Sri Krishna. He said, ask the mongoose. So mongoose said, there was a time when there was drought and there was a family. Family had 4 members, husband and wife and their son and daughter-in-law. So the person, that Brahmin, went for begging and he got 4 rotis. So he brought that, and while eating, just before eating, a Brahmin came. I said, I am very hungry, please give me something. So the man thought, it's my duty to give my share. So he gave 1 roti. So he said, I am now more hungry after getting 1 roti. So the next was his wife, he gave her share. And then Brahmin asked more. So son gave his share. And ultimately, the fourth roti also was given. And that night, because of hunger, all four died. And that mongoose happened to go over that leftover leaf, and some grain was attached. So half of its body was golden. So mongoose told that I thought it is a great Rajya Yajna. So let me make my other half golden, because here also many such a yajna happened. But I find nothing happened here. That was great yajna. So apparently that four people died out of hunger, but they dedicated themselves for this. And by dedication, they felt that joy. And when that Ayurvedic doctor, what they do, they put gold and some metals, and then also that para, that mercury, and put in fire. And when the material is ready, they break the container and take the inside medicine. Similarly, when we finish our prarabdha karma, this body falls off. So all four left the body, but in the process, a great yajna happened, a total sacrifice. In comparison, Rashtriya Yajna that Yudhishthir performed was nothing. So this is wherever you find such exemplary renunciation, sacrifice, know for certain it is good. And then they also feel that way. It's not that they were hungry and somehow they wanted to eat. No, they sacrificed their share. So this is great story. Such are great stories. We find many like that. Like Harishchandra, he gave his kingdom, and he sold his wife and son to pay the fees. Apparently, it is all misfortune, but no, it is not misfortune. They were such a high renunciate that they sacrificed everything for the sake of dharma, righteousness. So these are the stories, but these are to depict what real religion is. Strength of character. That is real religion. Not emotionalism. Not accepting hearsay. God has given us intellect. We have to use it, but not in an arrogant way. If we do this, then we will be happy. God also will be happy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry to take a longer time.
Pranam Swamiji.
Namaste. Namaste.
Pranam.
Pranam Swamiji, thank you.
Namaste. Jai Mata.